Welcome to the Finding the Magic podcast, where books come alive. I'm Tricia Copeland, a fiction author and host of this show. If you love books, finding great reads, and hearing about the story behind the story directly from the authors, this is the place for you. Whether you like fantasy, science fiction, dystopian, or romance titles, I think you'll find something to love in my playlist. Listen in to discover something magical about a book or two today.
Welcome, Nikki.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here today. We have Nikki St. Crowe. She is a dark fantasy romantasy, dark spicy fantasy romantasy writer. And I got the pleasure of, I haven't finished it yet, so I won't give away any spoilers, but this is her beautiful new book. It's got all these beautiful edges with the Emerald City on it. So that was so exciting. Thank you very much. This is your latest series. I looked you up. You have a number of series, but I'd love to talk about this one. West of Wicked is the first book, and The Great and Terrible Land is the series. Jump in, tell me. I want to know everything.
Yeah, it's a dark fantasy Wizard of Oz retelling that follows a much older Dorothy Gale into a much darker cursed land of Oz. And she, much like the original, she sets out on the Yellow Brick Road to find the wizard and find her way home. But at that point, everything that you might expect might not be how it actually ends up. So there are some surprises still. Even if you're familiar with the story of Wizard of Oz, there's a lot to discover in the series.
Fun. Well, how did you come up with the idea? What inspired it?
Well, I have already done a retelling of Peter Pan, and that one is a little bit darker, a little bit spicier. I didn't set out to like be the retelling author, but doing the Peter Pan one, I realized like how much I enjoyed it, like how much it kind of like there's the nostalgia aspect from my own relationship with the original source material as a child. And then from the writer standpoint, like to go back and, read the original books and kind of like see maybe there are, I like to call them crumbs that the previous author left behind that maybe were intentional, maybe weren't. Like a great one from Peter Pan is that Captain Hook is afraid of his own blood, and it's said in the book that it's an odd color, which I thought was really interesting, but it's like not something that's ever talked about again. So like I was able to kind of like exploit that a little bit in my Pan series, and then with Wizard of Oz, we're told from the very beginning that Dorothy is an orphan and that she is on the Kansas prairie with Em and Henry, but we don't like know why. Like we don't know the story about her parents or like how she ended up there, or if she is looking for any type of connection to her life before the prairie. So that was something that I really wanted to explore in my version. So at this point, like I've done a few retellings, and I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of retellings. I will continue to do them as long as people will let me.
Fine. Well, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz has a special place for me because it was my first fantasy book that I ever read. And I like all 13 books in that series. I devoured them every chance I got. I went back to the bookstore and got another one. And I had them all like lined up on my desk where I could like keep them and go back to them and reread them. So it's super cool. And so does Dorothy get any special, I guess, powers in this book? Is that too much to give away?
I don't think that anybody, like especially anybody who's familiar with my work prior to West of Wicked, they will not be surprised to hear that there might be more to Dorothy than meets the eye. Like this version of Dorothy is she's a little bit more special than like the original Dorothy, and that I mean just to confirm, yeah, she's got some power that she's gonna realize. And like that was something I often make my women powerful because I think it's so fun to explore that, like how they come to that power, what they do with it once they discover it, and like where it leads them from point A to point B.
Yeah, it seems like we have a lot of morally gray characters in this book too. Is that like something that you do a lot?
Yeah, I do like operating in the morally gray space. I like my whole like motto as an author is the villain gets the girl and the girl gets the power. Like that's something that I plaster all over the internet. I've always been really intrigued by villains. I think they sometimes get the better storyline, when they're done well. And for a love interest, I think that they do lead to more complex storylines because there is that morally gray area. I think we all kind of have a little bit of a dark side, maybe some more than others, but it's always kind of fun to engage with that dark side a little bit, or to chase desire or pleasure, especially, as society like tells women in particular, like to shy away from desire or pleasure. So I do like all of those themes in my work for sure.
Yeah, I mean, none of us are, Pollyanna, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Right. So fun. Well, I think the second book is about to come out, correct?
Yes. So book 2 is East of Envy, and it releases in November. So not too far away.
I was going to say, it seems like these are coming out really fast.
Yeah. We were kind of intentional about that because I know people don't like to wait. I did come from the indie side where I was able to publish very fast. So this series is traditionally published, so the timeline is a little bit longer than some of my readers are familiar with. But we're kind of like trying to keep that pace up as much as we can so that people don't have to wait too long.
And the second book is East of Eden, was that right? No, I got it wrong.
East of Envy.
East of Envy. Sorry, that was completely a different thing.
No,
do you have the whole series like all planned out with the characters, and is it like separate books that different things happen, or in the same world, or are they interconnected and does it continue the story, or how is that working in the series?
Yeah, so we'll follow the same characters throughout book 1, 2, and 3. And it will have like an overarching story for Dorothy, and we'll kind of stay in the same world, same characters, same headspace. By the time we get to book 3, that'll wrap up for Dorothy.
Okay, so you planned it out as a trilogy.
Yes. Yeah.
Fine. And or I guess I'll ask, how much of time elapses between each book, or is it just odds time?
Not a lot of time. I do tend to keep timelines pretty tight for most of my work. So like book 2, for instance, is literally like the next hour from book 1 to book 2. Okay. I haven't fully started writing book 3 yet, so like I don't know entirely where it's going to start, but it'll be pretty close. Like I don't like to have a lot of time lapse between books. I like to keep it fast paced.
Okay. And I assume you know where this ends already, right?
Yes, I do. I mean, I always leave a few things like up in the air because I do like to discover things as I get into the story to kind of like see if a character will surprise me, or maybe something will pop up that was like not planned, but it fits really well with the story. So I always leave a few areas that are kind of up in the air, but I do know like guide points. Like I know the really big things that will happen in book 3 and where eventually that will lead us to the very end.
Fine. Yeah, that's how I write too. I always know like those major plot points, and then I like to fill in as I go. So that's really
yes.
fun.
You got to leave a little bit, to discover as a writer that keeps it interesting.
I know my editor tried to tell me to outline. So I started trying to outline, and I was so bored writing it after I'd written the outline. I was like, no, I can't do this. It's not going to work.
Yes.
So do you feel like it's more challenging to write a retelling than something original almost, because you have to like do you feel pressure to be like new and surprising. And I guess you want to be new and surprising in everything, but do you feel
Yeah.
more pressure or?
I don't think I wouldn't say that I feel more pressure. I mean, maybe with Oz because like the Wicked movies are coming out, so it's kind of like in the air already. Um, but I like to write short books. So I think the thing that works really well for me with retellings is that people already have a relationship with the original material. So there's not like a ton of world building that I have to do. I mean, there's some things that change that I've you know, made new for my version, but for the most part, like we can get right into the characters and the story. Um, so I always enjoyed that part. So I'm not like intimidated entirely by what has come before me. I think just in general, I'm always like, I hope that they like this story. I hope that they have fun going down this journey with this character and with me.
Right. Well, I mean, it seems like it just there's more opportunity for being creative with stories that are already built. And I guess you don't have to like think about how much you're front loading the story with the world building and or how you
Yeah.
splatter those little things throughout so the reader doesn't get this huge dump. I really appreciate I like when a story starts out and you have action in the very beginning. So I definitely
Mhm.
like this in this book, and it seemed like it's really fast paced. It moves from one thing to the next, and you're getting
Yeah.
all those good page turner scenes.
Yes, absolutely. I love fast-paced, easy reading books. I often say I'm easy reading. There's not you don't have to be intimidated to jump into my worlds because I try to make my work as accessible as possible to any level of reader. And I don't I like I write very short intentionally so that it is easy to get into.
Fun. Well, tell me a little bit about your background. I didn't read tons. You did say you started out as an indie author?
Yeah, well, so I I guess if I were to go way, way back, I actually started traditional. So I used to write YA, like in the mid 2000s, and I wrote YA for several years, and then pivoted to indie, and that's when I started writing romance and dark romance. Um, the thing that I loved about indie was that I could write and publish whatever I wanted. Like nobody could tell me no. That was one of my favorite things about it. And I was solely indie. I had left traditional behind and I was planning on that being my long-term plan. But I eventually had because like TikTok was the kind of like the golden era back then of TikTok. It was so easy to go viral, so I kind of broke out with the Lost Boys series, and I had publishers that were approaching me at that point. So I turned everybody down because I was really in the indie mindset that that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to have full control over my work. But there came a point where I felt like I had kind of like reached a bubble point with my indie side, and I knew that to be on more bookshelves, I needed to go with a traditional publisher. So that is when I approached publishers with the Wizard of Oz retelling.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like there's a certain mass you might get to where you're selling so many books that you're gonna have to hire like people to help do your not just your social media, but help you sell the books and help you get the books to the people and on all of those things that would be like a huge headache for me. I talked to one author and I think she had like I mean she's indie, so
Mm-hmm.
everything is in her, but she has like she said and she publishes a book a month. I was blown away.
Oh
I
my
like
goodness.
a full 300-page book a month, right?
Whoa.
And so, but in order to do this, she has like a staff of 12 people. She has like four editors and four proofreaders and the person who's scheduling all her things. And so she just goes into her writing cave seven
Wow.
hours a day and writes, but she has this
Wow.
whole like basically like a production system where she's working on a book right now and she takes a month to write it, it's going to be published in 3 months or 6 months or something. So the wheels are already turning. And I was, and then she described all these Excel spreadsheets she kept for like every scene. And I was like, oh my goodness, no. I mean, I still write in notebooks. So
yeah, wow, I'm not that organized. I am never that far ahead. I mean, traditional publishing makes you be ahead, but when it comes to like my indie side, I'm writing the book, proofreading it the next week, and then it's being published. I'm not like, I don't think 6 to 9 months ahead, but I admire writers who can have that process down to a science. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, I was blown away that she's the only, I mean, I talked to a lot of authors and she's the only one that was like, yeah, every scene is in an Excel spreadsheet. Oh, that would be work upon work. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that works for her, for her brain and how it operates. But for me, yeah, I like to have, just like we were talking earlier, just some of those guideposts, and then do a little bit of filling in as I'm learning with the characters.
So in this Oz series, I'll just call it the Oz series, sorry.
Yeah.
The Great and Terrible Land, I'll say that again. And the first book, West of Wicked. Did you have any characters that surprised you? Like they became somebody that you didn't think they would, or anything like that while writing them?
Yeah. So one of the new characters is Cleo. She's obviously not from the original Oz series. I thought that she was just going to be a side character in book 1, but it turned out that she had a much bigger role to play. So she is she'll be a regularly recurring character throughout the series.
Oh, fun. Yeah, I got a little bit into Cleo, so I like that character. So
yeah,
good. That's good to hear. Fine. And if you had to say like an over arcing, I don't know if that's the right term, theme for this series, do you usually have themes for your books, or do you think of those in the beginning, or they just kind of come out as you're writing?
I think I usually have a theme that runs through all of my books. So I would say like probably a theme for me as an author versus like book to book is always about the power dynamics between, because I write fantasy, the villain, the girl, and then how those power dynamics change as the story goes on, and the empowerment that comes for the female character as she kind of like discovers, maybe who she is, or like where she's going or where she belongs, so that by the end of the story, they're at least equal, like the hero or the villain, or the female character is the most powerful. Like she's walking in a room and turning heads because everybody knows she's incredibly powerful. So I would say power is always a recurring theme for me.
And do you always have a female character that's your main character, or have you done some male main characters?
I always say that my female characters are the main characters. So I usually have like one main female character, and then occasionally I'll have, so like first person to third person, I'll have some male characters who have like a first person point of view. And I do consider them main characters, but they're a little bit lower on the ladder than the female character.
And what point of view is this series in?
So this is multiple POVs. So Dorothy would be considered the main character. And then we have the Scarecrow and the Tin Man. They also have first person POVs. And then we have Cleo, Gabriel, the Witch of the West. They all have POVs, but they're in third person, so a little bit more distant.
Okay, interesting. So you're kind of mixing those up in the book. That's an interesting way to do that and get many perspectives. And what about, do you have one point of view that you like to write in better than another, or that feels more natural?
Most of my work, like most of my main characters, are in first person present. I do think that that's my natural voice at this point. But I enjoy both of them for different reasons. I would say primarily I'm writing in present tense, so regardless if it's first or third. I sometimes I like the change. Like if I'm moving from a first person POV to a third person, I kind of just like the freshness that comes with that. Like it feels different, and the character, because it's a little bit more distant, maybe there's a different way that I get to approach the scene or whatever it is. So I think I'm probably best known for my first person characters, but I have almost always mixed first and third in my books.
Yeah, so it seems like even with these retellings, and from what you're describing of your other series, they're really character-driven books more than like world building and the fantasy. I mean, not that the fantasy elements aren't important, but maybe a more character-driven story.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do think that I've never considered myself a great descriptive writer. I tend to I don't want to say gloss over the details, but like I'm not lingering in the details. Whereas with the characters, I definitely enjoy writing the characters more. I especially love writing dialogue. I could do that all day long. And yeah, I would say like I tend to lean more to the characters versus like the world or the setting description.
So did you go to school to write? Do you have a degree, or did you just learn it naturally, or how did you start?
No, I mean I did go to college briefly, but like I wasn't ever serious about getting a degree like for writing or anything like that. I Did I lose you? Oh, sorry.
No,
Sorry. It broke up a little bit. I was like, oh no, did I lose you? So no, I don't have a degree. I've been writing though since I was like 16. So I would say it's just a matter of practice at this point, like just lots and lots of years of writing.
well, I'm always so impressed. Well, not, I shouldn't say this. Almost every author I talked to said they loved writing from the beginning, and I'm one of those weird birds that did it. Like it happened late in life for me. So I'm always like really intrigued to learn how people learn the craft.
Yeah.
As someone who came into it a little bit later that didn't expect or never thought of myself as a creative person. So yeah, it's just I love hearing people's stories about, I and I guess that's one thing. Well, you can do most anything. You can like learn it whenever you decide to learn it. I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't think I could ever be a good basketball player or tennis player. Though. So, some of those things are innate a little bit, like coordination.
Yeah.
But maybe writing is more innate to some people than others. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like I was always a reader. Like I loved books. I was the odd child in my family. None of my family members read. I was one of the only ones that was always surrounded by books. So I definitely have always had a relationship to storytelling. My relationship to creativity did start with art, though. I was an artist for like young, so like 9 to 15. And I like looking back, I was really good. At the time I didn't realize it, but I don't really know when it changed from art to writing. I don't know why I made that decision. I don't know if it was conscious or not, but yeah, I would say that I've always been a creative person in some way. But my relationship to writing has been the thing that I've stuck with the most.
I think it's maybe easier to do than anything else. Like you don't need any supplies except a pencil and a paper, right? And
yes,
a computer helps now, but
yeah, true. When
not this.
I first started writing, it was with a pencil and piece of paper. We didn't have a computer back then.
Right. Yeah, I know. My husband gave me my first computer because I was writing in notebooks. He's like, "Here, sweetie." I was like, "Oh, thank you."
Oh, that was so nice of him.
So you said you're working on the third book, right? Or that's
Yes.
what's coming next. Do you have a title for that one already picked out?
I do, but it hasn't been announced yet.
Oh, okay. Can you give me any more morsels, maybe, or any like spoilers or
It'll definitely follow
fun?
the same pattern as the first two books. So we'll have a cardinal direction that we're going, and with alliteration, which, I love. Book 2 is heavily Dorothy and the Tin Man. So book 1 was heavily Dorothy and the Scarecrow. She is still, on a journey of discovery, but maybe also somewhat warring with the wizard. I don't want to give too much away because book 1 ends on a bit of a twist and a cliffhanger. And that's one of my favorite parts. Like, I love cliffhangers. I love, a little bit of shock at the end of a book. So there's definitely a lot more to come with like book 2. If anybody has read book 1 and they get to the end, then they're like, oh no, how dare you? that was somewhat intentional. I'm sorry, but hopefully, once you get to book 2, some of that pain will be assuaged, I guess.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, I love cliffhangers too, but a lot of people don't. So, and at least we don't have to wait very long. At this point, we only have about 5 months to wait. So that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's actually coming up really quickly.
Super fun. Well, thank you, Nikki, so much for being here. The Great and Terrible Land is your series, starts with West of Wicked, and East of Envy is the second book coming out in November 2026. Tell us where we can find you and your books.
Yeah, so online on socials, I can be found at Nikki St. Crowe. My website is nikkistcrowe.com. And then West of Wicked, you can find on most bookstore shelves in Walmart and Target, if that's the easier place to shop for books. You can find it pretty much anywhere online.
Well, and I saw you have like 4 other series. So if you love this one, there'll be enough to read while we're waiting for the next one in the series.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you for being here, and I hope you'll come back when you publish your next book.
Of course. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Finding the Magic podcast. I'm your host, author and podcaster Tricia Copeland, and I love getting behind the scenes. If you like the podcast, make sure to subscribe and stop in each week to discover new authors and books. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep finding the magic.